Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where we are pretty much ready to send up the mining craft for Valentina's export of ice cream enterprise that she is setting up over Minmus. Now, I've largely just affixed in our SAS with the exploration upper stage. You'll notice that there's an adapter here. It doesn't quite fit because there isn't a fuel adapter to Rockomax, but it's probably close enough, and I wanted a specifically fuel tank adapter. Now, looking at our thrust to weight looks fine. 1.41 into 0.75, so this is basically identical. And actually, this is substantially different from where it used to be. Okay, but this is basically identical to sending up our previous thrust to weight, so as long as we maintain control, it should be okay. I think I'm going to go for a slightly less efficient launch profile, because we should have plenty of Delta V to get us there with the exploration upper stage. Now keep in mind, these fuel tanks are empty for now. They will be filled after we dock up. Now, my main question is, if we dock, can we cross-feed from this docking port to these fuel tanks? I don't know. So I'm going to save this, and I hope that the answer is yes. I mean, we're fuel connected over here to the stack. So in theory, it should be okay. Like, if we were to have these fully fueled, A, our thrust to weight would be reduced, and I'm not too interested in that. And B, that would indeed work. So we're not going to do that for right now. This is going to be big and empty, which means we're going to have a big aerodynamic force up here as we're ascending through the lower atmosphere. So I think we're going to go for just a vertical, then pure horizontal ascent profile. So we're going to go just pure vertical until our SRBs pop off, I think. Let's give this a go. This is, again, an experimental launch. However, by the time we get to the other location and get docked up, it will by that point be too late for if we can't fill these fuel tanks with this airlock. I think we can, but I'm not 100% on that. And I kind of want to run tests. I kind of do. Oh, I also added some RCS up here, just for the record. How can we go about testing this? Well, first off, I'm going to make sure that this is saved, and then I'm going to, for now, ditch that. We're going to call this now the Mint Getter test. There we go. And we are going to rotate this whole thing horizontally, like this. Then we are going to need some form of land, or some form of movement here. So we would put like some big ol' wheels out here. These aren't that big of wheels. I don't think that's gonna work. I think we just gotta send it up, actually. So we will load in the Mint Getter. I think we just gotta send it up and try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We've got plenty of money. And also Valentina's funding this mission from her own personal pocketbook, if it fails. It's coming out of your pay, Valentina. Okay, let's launch this, and I think we're just gonna go for that vertical ascent profile, and then once we hit 100 kilometers-ish, switching to horizontal. It's not an efficient ascent profile, and I'm not going to pretend that it is an efficient ascent profile, but what it is an aerodynamically stable ascent profile. So, off we go. and we should be watching our apoapsis. We're about 1% of the way there right now. Make that 2%. We'll see how high we get before we detach the SRBs, realistically. We do have some swaying going on right now as we ascend through this thickest portion of the atmosphere. How long do the SRBs have left in their burn? 24 seconds. Okay. We're past max Q at this point, and we are pushing upward. Apoapsis of 24 kilometers currently. Make that 30. Make that 40. SRBs are off. We are currently at a negative thrust-to-weight ratio right now, so we're just going to continue pushing upward until that changes. There we go. We're still only looking at an apoapsis within the atmosphere. So we're going to have to keep burning straight up for a little bit here. That'll start changing quite soon. Okay, we're at 40 kilometers with an apoapsis of 70. I think we start pitching to the horizon now. We've got sufficient vertical speed, and I want to get horizontal speed. Our time to apoapsis is about 1.5 minutes, so that is a good sign. And we have about enough DV in the tank to get us into orbit, which is perfect. So we'll just hold right about here. And how are we looking at our inclination? That's fine. We'll have to change that anyway, since we're going to min-miss. And we are out of the atmosphere. We're now at peak efficiency, and we are not getting any atmospheric drag whatsoever. So that's fantastic. Now we just need to accelerate as quickly as we possibly can. We're still moving pretty slow here. Our thrust to weight was actually a little lower than I was looking for. But that's to some degree because we have this extra fuel in the exploration stage. Which, as long as we get to orbit, is good. But if we don't get to orbit, that'll be slightly problematic. What's our thrust to weight looking like in that stage? 0.79? Okay. We've still got 30 seconds left in our main stage. But we may actually end up having to uprate those SRBs. Call it like the SLS Block 1. We'll have to see. We're basically at the apoapsis right now. Okay. I have to burn a little bit of extra fuel here, but we should be hitting orbit shortly. I hope we don't skip out of the atmosphere. That's always awkward when that happens. For right now, we want to just be locked prograde. And accelerate just a couple hundred more meters per second. We are, of course, descending right now. Currently, we would return to the ground in a fiery litho-breaking explosion, or shall I say, rapid unscheduled disassembly, but that is becoming less and less likely as this burn continues. Okay, we're now missing the ground. This is an awful elliptical launch. Okay. It's the best we got. We're going to skip out of the atmosphere. It's okay. We'll warp forward until we are in the atmosphere. We now want to be in surface prograde, and we will simply physics warp forward. Our apoapsis is currently slowing down due to atmospheric drag, but we will be exiting the atmosphere in just a couple minutes. And then we can fix this orbit. So it worked, but our thrust to weight is definitely on the low side, and we've been having that with a few launches. We should probably uprate those SRBs. We are rising now, on our way out of the atmosphere. But you can see, just this little dip into the atmosphere dropped us almost 10 kilometers from our apoapsis. It's fine, we've got plenty of delta V to make this work, but it's just a little bit on the sad side. We're going to be exiting the atmosphere again in just a moment. And there we are. So we will simply circularize a little bit, at least to get us out of the atmosphere. Oh, I did not mean to do radial. There we go. We'll do retrograde here and get this to about here. Yeah, we were only 80 meters per second off. Uprating those SRBs definitely would have done the trick. We'll head over to the maneuver node and physics warp as we turn our way over there very slowly. You'll notice that I'm not currently utilizing the RCS that we have on here. That is primarily intended for docking, and our reaction wheel can get us here quick enough. So we'll just get oriented. About like this. And now we will warp to that maneuver. No, we won't. No, we won't. I didn't extend our solar panels. Let's get that done. Excellent. Now we'll warp to that maneuver. Just didn't want to run out of power and have this thing be lost because I was an idiot. So this is T-minus 4.5 seconds that we will commence this burn. This is, of course, a pure prograde burn. We may as well just be at prograde. Physics warping as we turn to prograde, and there we go. 4.5, so now. Okay, good enough. That'll do. Now we need to set min-miss as our target, which of course is off over here. At the descending node, we need to change 6.6 degrees. And yep, this direction. Something along the lines of this. Of course, we're just going to be locked to normal, and we're not actually going to utilize the maneuver node because it's not strictly speaking accurate, because we're going to be changing our inclination. So we just want to be locked to the normal node because that will move over the course of the burn. So we will slowly get rotated over towards that normal marker. And we're just using this maneuver node for timing. In fact, I do want to change this. Why is this 0.5 meter per second? I'm very confused by that. Okay, whatever. Why are we not currently moving towards normal? Are we at normal? I guess it's just not showing up. Not sure why normal is suddenly not showing up, but okay. Pretty sure we're there. So we can just go ahead and start this burn relatively soon. Basically any time is fine-ish, but I want to be a little closer to the descending node, I think. So we'll start this burn in just a couple seconds. Kind of like now. So we will just get this set up. We are on the normal node, and we just have 2 more degrees to go. Is that close enough? I mean, it's probably close enough. We could adjust it. I think this is probably close enough. We're going to have to adjust it anyway to get into the polar orbit of Minmus. So let's just go ahead and add a maneuver here. And that's an encounter. Is that a good encounter? Not exactly. So let's just grab some retrograde bit. Nope, prograde. Something like so. I want to bring this in a little bit. It's very touchy at this distance, and I'm not used to using that interface, which is different. Okay, let's change when we're doing this burn. Needs to be out over here. No. No, 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 no. There we go. Okay, and then maybe a small retrograde portion here. Actually, prograde a little bit. And then delay the burn. No, no, I want to delay the burn. No. Let me grab when the burn happens. There we go. Okay. And this... is actually really solid. Like, we'll have to change this inclination, right? But that's nice. I'd like to push this outward a little bit to be outside of 100 kilometers. But overall, yeah, that's really solid. Okay, we'll lock to that maneuver node. Are we going to be going the correct directionality? Yes, we are, as long as we rotate it this way rather than this way. We'll have to check that. And then, of course, we'll have to match planes once we get there anyway. Okay, we are in position now. And we will go ahead... Oh, it's because we're in surface. No wonder the normal wasn't showing up. Okay, now we will warp to that maneuver. This is a 1 minute and 15 second burn, so we need to burn this at T minus 37.5 seconds. So we will go ahead and warp towards T minus 37.5 seconds. Now, let the burn begin. And we want to hit this maneuver node pretty accurately, if we can possibly help it. Because this is putting us basically exactly where we want to be. Not quite the correct inclination, but we would have had to launch at a different time for that, and that's just something we don't have time for. Also, that's not how KSP works. Well, it does work that way. But there's not amazing tools in the vanilla game to figure out correct launch windows and things like that. I think there are mods for them, but I mean, there definitely are. MechJeb can do it, for one thing. But I'm playing this mostly vanilla. So off we go. We are going to be hitting Minmus orbit quite soon. Or, well, Minmus flyby quite soon. Just a few more DV here. Just gonna slow this down. There. Close enough. At this periapsis, we are going to need to do a braking burn and circularize. Something along the lines of this-ish. Although I probably want to have this be basically exactly circular. And then we are, of course, going to need to adjust our inclination, which will be interesting. I mean, we can pretty much say that the point at which we would want to do that would be basically the apex of our orbit here. So, that'll be fine. Let's go ahead and get maneuvered for that. Of course, that slightly changes this prediction, because physics warping is weird. It'll change back as soon as we're done physics warping, though. Okay, we are largely in position now. And the position changed. Wonderful. That's less ideal, but it'll still do. Okay, we'll go ahead and warp to that maneuver. This is a 6-day warp, which we, of course, are okay with. We currently have no probe control. That will change as we approach Minmus. Excellent. So this is going to be a 14-second burn. We want to burn this at T-minus 7 seconds. So we'll just warp a little bit towards that. There we go. Let's just get this burn done here. And then we'll have to match planes. That's close enough. So, as far as matching planes goes, we will simply do something like this. We'll have to do some retrograde in there, of course. And we'll just get it to be something kind of like this-ish. Is that close enough? Maybe. But also maybe not. I'm not sure that that's amazingly close. Yeah, that's getting further away, actually. We need it to be something kind of more like this. I mean, that's pretty close. I'm going to utilize this for a moment and make a couple of tweaks here. Ooh, that was too much. Yeah, this thing seems to be pretty touchy. I want to just bring this right on in. A little retrograde as well. It's like almost, not quite even, but almost even. Then we've overshot slightly. And then we need to verify that this is actually going to take us the correct directionality. I think that's close enough. We can always match speed as we get closer. So, let's see here. This is going to be taking us, I think, this way. So that's retrograde. I mean, we've got enough DP to make that happen. I mean, flying retrograde for the approach wasn't that bad when we did it last time. Let's go ahead and warp to that. Although we're going to need to line up for the maneuver. So, on we go. We, of course, need to set the ice cream maker as our target. And yeah, we're going to be a little bit off on the descending node there. I'm going to see if we can modify this a little bit. 0.6, 7, 8, 9, 0.0. Okay, this is just 1 degree off here. I think that's close enough. So we will warp to that maneuver now. This is a 2-second burn. There we go. We'll warp a little bit further, since of course this is a 2-second burn. Okay. T-2 is our target. Mark. That'll do. Okay. So, we need to look for intersects. No, don't warp there. We need to look for intersects here. Please stop warping. Thank you. Let's see, our target separation is a little exciting right now. Hello? Separation here is very small. We can get it to 3 kilometers. We get it any less than that. I mean, 3 kilometers is close enough. Now the question is, can I get us back to that 3 kilometer mark? .9. Okay. I do wish that it was a little bit easier. Like, I wish that I could use the mouse wheel to push and pull when the burn happened. Because this is a very large change. It is kind of difficult to make this happen. Okay. 3.1 kilometers is the best we're going to get. I'm okay with that. Okay, we're going to physics warp as we approach that burn point. There we go. And then we will warp to that burn. Excellent. And then our relative speed, of course, will be 200 meters per second. That's fine. Our last burn to kill our relative speed, that was what, at 3 kilometers away? Something like that? Okay. This is a very, very tiny burn. I'm going to physics warp to put us right on the maneuver node. And we're going to have this throttled way, way down. So right about now. That put us 8.3 kilometers apart. And that's getting further apart. Okay. Don't mind me, I'm just pushing us even further apart right now with our RCS thrusters. That's okay, we're going to fix this in just a moment. We'll get over to the prograde node. There we go. Close enough. Okay. With that, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we are going to dock this guy up. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.